everyone. I hope you guys are doing really well today. My name's Eva, and I want to thank you for joining me here. I am back in Colorado, and I'm so excited to be back in the Pikes Peak region. I love Pikes Peak so much. I was walking yesterday morning in the Garden of the Gods, and I overheard a bunch of people talking about money in mildly disturbing ways. And I wanted, we've talked about financial stuff, financial systems like the debt matrix, the lack matrix. And we've done a lot of work on this channel to expose and undo these ideas throughout dimensions, throughout time. But if you've followed me for a while, if you've watched any of my videos before, you know this is unity healing, unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, which is one. And so as we reorient our own identity as being one in the field, one with God, one with abundance, that it's not coming from elsewhere, it's not coming from outside of us, it is emerging from the self that is one, the field that is one. And as we reorient our identity to no longer see ourselves as separate from that which we are provisioned by in this world, that it appears as we need it. And so it's not really about like stockpiling, because it is not of unity to plan for the future in the way that we do out of fear and lack and preparing for the worst. Unity consciousness does not project the worst case scenario. It knows that you are safe and whole in the oneness of God and of the field. And so I wanted to focus on this idea, immediately after, while I was, the Garden of the Gods, is a very popular tourist attraction, but I think that the man who said, it's named that way because he got there and he saw these incredible rocks and he was like, surely this must be a garden for the gods. And it is such a, a lot of people talk smack about places that are crowded and how could they be, so powerfully holy. And I think really, let's try to reframe that as what an incredible blessing that so many people come to such spaces that hold such incredible resonance. I feel so much the same about Tava, about Pikes Peak. People are like, oh, they desecrate the mountain by putting the building on top of it. But I think, that now that is done, how incredible that so many people get to go and be with the mountain in that way. I think it's beautiful. That's an aside. But I'm very connected with the spirits of this land, the consciousness of this land, and it comes through, and it's easier to hear it in clarity. So excited to be back here. But anyway, I was, this idea for this healing came through yesterday as just like, money is not a god, and we believe that money is God. There is a belief in that, right? And so I wanted to do this healing together, which is to allow this, allow the code, allow the transmission, the healing to come through, which is to undo that belief throughout time, and this is very, very tied up in slavery programming, but ultimately in placing the value and the belief in the reality of the world. Yes, this is it, outside of the self. The world does not exist outside of you. You project the world from your belief of what you are. And so all of this work is identity healing. And we are one with God. And there is a lot of belief in the distortion code, a lot of reversal code about what God is. And so we've superimposed all of these ideas about what God is and what we've made in its place. And so this is about reunion with our source, because all of our provision, all of our security, all of our power to recognize and allow that provision to be reflected back to us in any way that abundance might come, in material resource of any kind. It's not just money, which isn't meaningful, right? Money holds value by what people believe it's worth. It has no inherent value. It's nothing. It's fugazi. It's nothing. It's nothingness. It's already that way. It's just a trading of an idea, and how it's a really good example of seeing how much we've made of nothing here and how separated we are from true value. And so it's not even really about like reconnecting with your inherent value and then you become a millionaire. I do not believe that's what this work is for. I really believe that this work is for dismantling these distorted systems, and we can see very clearly in the world that these systems are dismantling. I don't believe there will be money the way that we think of money in the next 5 years, and so I don't think it's of the plan. I don't really believe it's of Spirit's plan to like stockpile it, but I do believe that in untangling these false beliefs about what we are in our relationship to abundance and where it comes from. Because that's something I overheard at Garden of the Gods, which is why I brought that up. People were talking, this guy was like, she doesn't understand money, she doesn't understand where it comes from. And then I was like, where does money come from? It comes from an idea of what we have, that we need to trade our inherent value and resource, and that's placed outside of our inherent worthiness to live. And that's just not true. And the more we refocus on the truth, the more we are not worried about the future. And so we allow, because this receiving part of it, this divine feminine principle that needs to be reclaimed, that needs to be recovered, is inextricable from this kind of healing. Because if we're not receiving, if we're not allowing, because we fear the inherent beingness of what we are, because we don't understand what it is, and we're in the world of forgetting, that we push those resources away from us, and we remain in cycles of lack and unworthiness. And there's all kinds of religious programming that goes around with that too. So all is to say, this is a healing for the undoing of the idea that money is a god and that we must serve our purpose in order to gain this idea, this false idea that we need this stuff to be provisioned and safe and worthy and successful, and that our lives mean nothing if we don't have it, and that we always need to be trying to figure out how to get it. This is about reconnecting to our inherent worth so that we allow provision, we allow abundance, we allow overflow to come in all kinds of different ways, including money, including having no more debt, including all of these things. Yes, of course, but we always have to remember, and I wrote this in an email to someone this morning who asked me about this, like, we don't heal in the effect and expect the cause to change. You can wipe away all kinds of stuff if you go to people who are clearing curses and clearing bindings and clearing all of this stuff. And yes, that's part of this work also. But if you're not getting to the cause of what, and the cause is in the mind and the belief, then you can undo all of that kind of stuff in the moment, but then you're perpetuating the idea that was keeping that in your field in the first place. So we really want to get to that core idea and unravel from there, and then allow it to unravel, and you'll find absolute miracles happen, and you allow things to come from all sorts of different ways. And then you find that you're not in the hole that you thought you were in, and that money is nothing. It's an incredible facade. It's an incredible charade. It's an incredible distortion that we believe in this nothingness, and we base our whole lives around it. So we want to reorient ourselves to true meaning. So just taking nice deep breaths now, letting ourselves drop in, sink in, further up. Allowing the tension to dissolve from your mind, from your body. Maybe holding tension in the shoulders and the back, letting that release at this time. Knowing that you are safe, knowing that you are whole. You are whole and held. Hitayo sonso kono in shintruyato konama oruinium nasensa kiriato yamboro itisiti akianatriani si. And as I was doing my lesson in the Course in Miracles, before I came to record this video, there were two paragraphs that felt very relevant for this topic that I want to share with you, because I think it's important that we remember that love is communication, and love as the means of the force of the world, the spirit, the inspiration of the world, and the creative force, that as we let ourselves be love, as we let love move through us, we understand that it is a communication in the unity, and that is, being in union with all parts of the field that really allows that abundance to show up for you in all kinds of different ways. You do not need to be in lack to be spiritual. That's an incredible lie. These vows of poverty, these ideas that it is like better to be without resource. Some people believe this, or that if you're without resource, that you are nothing, that you're worthless, and that other people mean more because they're more successful financially. Like all of these ideas, they dissolve in our direct communication with the field, with the divine, and with all of the spirits that are with us in this realm. My heater just came on, so I'm going to try to talk louder. Communication, unambiguous and plain as day, remains unlimited for all eternity. And God himself speaks to his Son as his Son speaks to him. Their language has no words, for what they say cannot be symbolized, right? Money is a symbol, and it's a false symbol, but we also have to forgive the symbol and bring it back into neutrality so that we don't push away from it. Their knowledge is direct and wholly shared and wholly one. How far away from this are you who stay bound to this world? We want to undo our attachments to the belief in the reality of this world. It doesn't mean that we don't move around in this world, but we do move around in the world with much more ease and much more trust that what we need comes back to us because it never left us. It is of us. It doesn't come from somewhere else, right? And yet, how near are you when you exchange it for the world that you want, which is the reality of love? Now is the last step certain. Now you stand an instant space away from timelessness. Here can you but look forward, never back, to see again the world you do not want. Here is the world that comes to take its place as you unbind your mind from little things the world sets forth to keep you prisoner. Value them not, and they will disappear. Esteem them, and they will seem real to you. Such is the choice. What loss can be for you in choosing not to value nothingness? This world holds nothing that you really want, but what you choose instead you want indeed. Let it be given you today. It waits but for your choosing it to take the place of all the things you seek but do not want. Kanatrua I samayana tuyamaiti, amoruiti sa yoshimo orokanayani snandrayas nusoto aya shanatrainia. Shimindreaya korrohinia maya tiandro ayas nashandra kayas natri. Himayanaya torro iniandayas no shondo kanatriati san. Himia orayas no shanatraisia saya kinianayanayana. Warahiti som socorroitai, himiendrayo son socorroitis. Sin chiritoyo corroitis natruayatiamayuniot. Orroikiniana orroitisio sotro iti kiara orroitisium sotroat. Ayan shatriat usokunoyo troanain satro ayasin chikinindra iayataya saya. Orroitisia torroinia mayandroatos. It's really coming through as undoing those symbols, undoing the meaningfulness of the symbol in your inherent coding, so you do not apply false value to things that have no inherent value. Sikiatoro yinyama toro anashnindrikin datro arayasni shindikiniama rindiato coronayan sondroatus. This is how you free your mind. While you are attempting to manifest specific money things, you're still losing sight of the false value that you've placed on it for why you think you want it or need it. Sindritishon socorro hiniatus, morroitis in sikinindoyo torra hiniandratuyo socoriatat, kama rayos noshondro kinindritis iti kadaya tocorro hinian, hinindroatusum socorra hashnatra, soyon socorro iti sitia riti, kinianto arruhinindoro konan jocorroitis in socorrohatas, siono anayan si kinindrihi iti kiarayas, Horrohiria taya kono andra in sio borroyeti sia kiara. Hia tomayon so kono shan satrato so shabaoro. You have forgotten. You have forgotten what you are. Remember now. Nianta karayas no shantroaisan garayo to datat. There is nothing your holiness cannot do. Siamborro inishin drihirit. When you remember who you are, you see that you are never in danger. You are lacking nothing. The power of God is what your power is. We've used this power wrongly, let's say, because we have made a world of distortion that puts people in such a state over something so meaningless. But we can change our minds. Let your mind be changed. Sikiatoru, himindisinchit. Really pay attention to what you're asking for and where the belief from what you're asking is coming from. Why do you feel like you need it in the way that you're asking for it? Is that pushing it away from you? Is it an inherent belief that you have it not? You have to, that's like the whole living in the end, the law of assumption stuff, but that's real. You have to assume from your true identity as a being that is in co-creation with the field that is one. You're not separate from money. And while you let narratives run in your mind that you're under all these curses or there's all these bindings and attachment that are keeping me from receiving, and I need to get rid of those specific things because they're what's keeping me from receiving, that's going to continue to run that narrative. You have to do the work to tell yourself in your mind when these things come up that that's not the reality of yourself. The work is to reorient yourself from your identity, the basis of your identity. And then all of these other things flow from that. Shitra korruitiam natror, kiriatos soshini sansakini, hinimaorum natriatos, Shietrako rindiapta korruhinando asho koyes nondro anchitisin sikinia. Shitroaro inimnindritis kiayon shitriato sumsakiraitia. Yomorandaraesim sikia rayan ruiniam na korruitis anchaka. Sonso rayas natratas nasanchi. Simayantawori payakini andarayo to rindiritisio. Don't reinforce the belief in your littleness. Don't reinforce the belief in your lack with the stories you're telling yourself. You see this a lot in the manifestation world in Neville Goddard and stuff like this. Physical circumstances do not matter. This is about shifting your internal state. And your internal state is based on what you believe that you are inherently as a being. Koto somsha como andaraiki tieto korkiat. Yontoaon chikia somo ara kinian socorro hiriti sikiritayan chandrayoso sokoayat. Yono andrato sansatri yanando ayat o arritis yo socorrohat yamatruatu somsha kinindrikini andrayato sosoit. Korrukini anti esotoharitis. Sioritis nandruaum. Yomorruitis yon socorraya sin chikinindriatos. Somandroa nandroatus socorruitis yon jocorraya sin siataya kiriatos. Hukuyotuaya namatrai sin chikinindrihiritiat. And remember, in the eyes of spirit, what you believe you have, is what you are. So if you're proclaiming, it's the same as being careful with I am statements, right? Don't proclaim what you have not, or I have. a money block. Well, there you go. If you continue to tell yourself that, that's going to perpetuate in the field. You have to get back to the very, very root. I am free. I am abundant. I am one with God. I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the force that is everything. I am one with all things. How could I lack anything? I lack nothing. Shininia na mumzikinin diaptoruitis no shamatrot, kinin jaritis nandratis amsakorroitis en chakonon dukoat, hiporokotoyot, rin dratusokoriat, korruitoyum norun, tatru rutushet. Don't limit the field, don't limit the miracle. Soyendo di matro tuyu rinyam nakonim satukanati yiti sikianayan jiri toya tukoroat yorrotis nadratos yorroti kinyan yorritis imsit yotroatos wow kniam natrain hinandratos osiatashan sakoratos aishiatrais yamaya torro kinyanayan tukonindi yamaya taya shinikiana santa kana yanandrayas no shantokonayan sakinian saniashni sindro arranto konondra pasnush atrakanasna sanchi kiriat hinindro arrunyam nandrakoan do arrohiriatos obzatriatos oshaka sansa kanandra porro konandroiato sansokonoin iniandro aumjiriato sotokoron sandri torro konun jerihi sipiaworrindo konondro hamayen nindrikin Sindrianun. Sindrianun no shimindron dosunsaka. Nini anaini, yono yanayani nayanaya no tuata sanai. Hia yusum satruyahyon tokonandrayasum shakarato sukotayat. Kono toyon rindi yusum socorro kanatrat. Kash dosuk sak atruhanat. Kuno yondo ahiritis yoto aratasnas anchak atrakitaya kurut. Orkonondroato sukodiat. Hatraka yata ayaka asa. Shamasa ayokunoana yana uru adayatokoa. Would you allow yourself to be taken care of by God? Kinian sokonoin shikinindritisi. Would you receive that? Shinindriano sumsakinindri kondoyoshid. Or do you believe you have to do it yourself? What is yourself? These are really important questions to ask yourself. This is very powerful work. I really encourage you to let yourself just rest a bit after this, because there's a lot of energy still releasing out from the field. If this is work that you are really resonant with and you're really interested in, there's a lot of trance meditations on my website that are themed in this kind of way, and a lot of really detailed notes that come out in the description. So that's always linked below. Personalized trance work is recorded, is very, very powerful as well. Lots of detailed notes come out for your journey as well with that. And always one-on-one sessions are available on my website if you want to go deeper into the work at this time. Thank you guys so much for joining me here, and I love you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.